Hi, my name's Dan Corbett, and I'm the founder and managing partner of BlackIron Group. BlackIron is a registered Odoo partner, and today I'm here to talk to you about using Odoo in the job shop manufacturing sector. Dig in, folks. This video is a long one. I'm going to cut it up into pieces, but there's a reason for that. Job shop manufacturing, in my opinion, no disrespect to repetitive and discrete manufacturers, is the most complicated kind of manufacturing there is. I'm going to show you today how Odoo can handle the entire process from building sophisticated quotes all the way through helping customers with break fixes. But first, like all videos, a quick shameless plug. BlackIron's been in business for 20 years. We've helped over 2,000 customers improve their CRM and accounting, manufacturing and distribution and retail businesses, and for that we're very proud. We have experience with most of the majority of ERP systems out there in the field, and I'm here to tell you that Odoo is poised to become the next big thing in ERP. The way that it's kind of built modularly and for the price, less than $40 a user a month, makes the product remarkably sophisticated, flexible, and usable by the vast majority of medium-sized to small manufacturers out there in the market. But what makes it specific for job shop manufacturers specifically? Job shop comes with its own whole set of complexity. We've got to be able to figure out how to get on site and capture site sort of prep information, measurements, and that kind of thing. We need to be able to capture sophisticated quotes, building out features and models and optional products. We need to put that into the field eventually and install that. And finally, as problems arise, we typically need to have people out in the field to fix that. We're going to start on the mobile app because we're going to start in the field doing our site prep. So Odoo provides a pretty sophisticated mobile app. I'm just going to link into sales here and go into my customer record. And in customers, I'm going to find Big Bakery. There's obviously a search function, but it's right here on the top of the page for me. See, to the client, can't do that on the emulator. What I need to capture at Big Bakery are a couple of things. I need to get pictures of the site. I need to figure out dimensions, height, width, length, and I need to figure out power requirements so that I know how I'm going to power my device. I'm going to do all that in my mobile app and have that right back to Odoo so that I've got that information when I get home or back to the office to do the quote. So here in the system, I'm going to log a note. I'm going to capture some information. This is not terrific spelling, but you can imagine getting this into the system. It's going to be fairly straightforward. And when I capture that, hopefully you're a better speller than I am. I've also captured pictures. I know that I've got a 4x12 space. I know that I need to have vertical paddles because I've got a lot of height up, but not necessarily wide. And I know I need to put my control panel on the right side because that's where power is. I basically addressed all the issues I need to address out in my imaginary company. Time to head back to the office and start building this quote. All right, back in Odoo Desktop, we're going to jump in and start the quoting process. I'm going to go into sales, and I'm just going to start a brand new one. I already know that I'm going to Big Bakery, so let's get that started here. I know Dan is Baker Dan is my contact there, and it kind of fills out some of the basic information, including the address. I'm going to add my mixer to the pile right now. It's bulk mixer, so I'm going to need to do a quick search and find that record, but here it is. Essentially, this is the item that I want to capture. I need an 8-inch bag, I know that. I need to have a local distribution box to take it away, and my slide gate needs to be an auto slide. Once I've captured that, I also know that my control panel from my visit needs to be on the right side for power requirements, so I'm going to add that. And at this point, I've basically taken the three things, and you can have as many as you want, the three attributes built around my bulk mixer, and I've defined that. I've added prices for the pieces that I need, and I've even added my optional items for my control panel here on the right side. When I confirm that, it creates that order for me. I've got one unit for $22,380, plus my control panel with my taxes brings me to $26,197. At this point, I can send my quote to Baker Dan, and he's going to take a look at this. But we're going to do a preview instead, so we don't have to go through the whole email thing. The quote builder in Odoo is super sophisticated. So this is just sort of a basic one with some pretty terrible terms and conditions. And Odoo is, since we're going to have to install this anyway, I'm going to build out a mixer installation service. So you can have goods and services on the same quote. In this case, we're going to flat rate $3,000 for the mixer. And then I'm going to confirm this order. So I've got my mixer built out, and I've got my mixer installation. When I confirm this, And what you see Odoo do, wow, is build out several smart buttons up here at the top. From one quote, I now have a manufacturing order, which tells me I'm going to go ahead and create this. And I've got a project for my installation. So a lot of the automation is automatically built into Odoo. You just have to configure it to do that. That's where BlackIron comes in to help. Let's walk through some of this quickly. In the manufacturing itself, you can see the pieces that I've got out here on my manufacturing order. This is essentially my bill of materials that exists in the system. To see that, if I walk into my item and look at my bill of materials, you can see that information here. I've also got a series of operations where I'm going to assemble the mixer in assembly 1. I'm going to add my control panel and do all my wiring in assembly 2. And finally, I'm going to pack it up in the finish station at the end. So all that data basically was built out in the system, and Odoo used that to create essentially a manufacturing order. In addition, my project got created and my tasks from that project. So I had a mixer installation template out there. It automatically drove to that and created a brand new project for sales order 135 with tasks related to it. All right, let's get to work. All right, the first thing I need to do is have enough inventory on hand of my raw materials to go ahead and create this. Now, in real life, this is a process that happens all the time, but I wanted to show it to you inside of the system. There's a scheduler that you can either run automatically or is going to run once a day built into Odoo that will do any kind of procurement for you based on replenishment mins and maxes. We set up those order quantities, and Odoo will run through that once a day or more often if we want to run this job and create purchase orders for those items. I'm going to run this job now, and then I'm going to show you the results. Here in the purchasing app, when I walk into it, the first PO you see is to my idiotic demo company, Mixers R Us, for a whopping $346,000. But if I go into this PO, you can see that the system basically built this for me. It said that I needed to have all of these different pieces in the system. That's my bill of materials. It knew that I was short on that, and it knew that I had set up reorder quantities so that it would create these for me. At this point, all I'm really doing is confirming this order and then validating that receipt. So let's do that. Now, in real life, obviously, you wouldn't do it from here. You'd have guys out on the floor who are receiving those goods. You can use a barcode application to do that, by the way. Super slick. I have enough supply to generate my forecast for my mixer. So let's go build it. Okay, in Odoo, essentially, I can do this work in the sales app or the manufacturing app, but probably where I'm going to do this is on the shop floor. I've hired a bunch of guys out there to do that for me. So let's get into the shop floor and see what it looks like for the workers who are actually out there doing the work. All right, let's jump into shop floor real quick. You can see I have a whole bunch of different things that I need to build, we as a company need to build, but I just want to look at the stuff that are my jobs. And in that example, it quickly drops down to just the stuff I need to do. In fact, just this mixer I'm building for Big Bakery. At this point, let's go ahead and get started to assemble this mixer. So I'm going to click on this and I'm going to start. Now it turns out I am the world's fastest assembler. So at this point, I am done with my first step. You'll see that Odoo is going to move it over for me into assembly 2, because in assembly 2, this is where I'm basically going to need to do the electronics work. In assembly 2, where I'm adding my wire, I'm going to do the same thing, and it turns out as good as I was at assembling, I'm much better at wiring, so we're done with this step as well. And finally, we're going to move over to the finish station where I'm going to pack this up. All right, at this point, I'm ready to go. You can see that my manufacturing order is built. So at this point, we really just need to get this packed and delivered. I'm going to click into delivery. One thing you'll notice very quickly is that I put this in as serial number tracking. It's a function and I guess a parameter that exists inside the product. And so it automatically assigned serial number 32 to this item. It becomes very important as customers have issues that we know what piece we're working with. So Odoo did that for me automatically based on the configuration that I set up. BlackIron can help you with that. All right, at this point, we are ready to go. This is being shipped out now. Now I need to send guys out to basically help with the installation. Let's go over to project management and take a look at that. In project management, I've got my mixer installation here, and you'll see that I've got 7 steps that I need to work on to get this done. Let's get these assigned quickly and start to turn this into a project and get it out into the field service. I'm going to click on this one for site prep, and I'm going to assign this to, let's assign it to me. And then I'm going to assign the rest of these. I'll do that, and then we'll jump into field service. Okay, at this point, my project's assigned. Let's go look at it in field service on the desktop, and let's get right back into the mobile so we can actually install this piece. Okay, in field service, just like it's going to be on the mobile app, I know what I need to do. But if I'm a dispatcher, I need to know a lot more than that. So I'm going to go into this project view, and it's going to give me a Gantt chart of all the projects that I have out there. You can see I've got an Azure Interior Silo install due in the 1st of December. I've got a project for Deco Attic kind of happening around Thanksgiving and then into the 1st of the month. And then here's my mixer installation that we're working on. Dan, Jane, Lucas, and Mitch are all working on this project as we sort of run through this, and we can get a picture of that. We can move these tasks if we need to. We can make them take longer. We can make them go shorter. We can even add new tasks right here on the dispatch screen to make this super easy to get our team out there kind of scheduled and in the field to do this work. Back in the mobile app, if I go into field service, if I go into field service, you can see the 2 tasks that I've got out in the system. So as an installer in the field, I'm going to use this app to basically decide what I need to do. I've got the Deco Attic project, and I've got my project here. So if I walk into the Azure project, actually I wanted to walk into the Big Bakery, but you get the basic idea. I can use this information, and I can mark this as complete so that the people back in the office know it. I could also do timesheets, but you remember I fixed bid this for $3,000, so I don't necessarily need to do that. Let's close this task so that we've got that information back in the office, and we know that we've installed this particular silo out at Azure. Okay, this one's done, and I am ready to move on to my next piece. So I could work through all these as I go. Essentially, the Odoo mobile app gives us the ability to send our installers out into the field, give them just the information that they've got to work with, and get them through that. Remember, these guys are built not to be IT professionals, but to basically install some very sophisticated equipment. And we want to make this as easy as we possibly can for them so that we know what's going on out in the field, but not make them do too much. All right, guys, last thing. I told you it was going to be a long one, and I appreciate you hanging in there. I'm going to cut this up into pieces. The last thing is stuff breaks occasionally, so we need to get help. Whether it's through live chat, telephone, email, or a website form, you can get that right out of Odoo, and you can build these pages into your website. It can be syndicated onto your website, or you can use Odoo's CMS to basically build it out. I'm going to create this case ticket, and then I'm going to submit this, and we're going to get out there and work on this as well. All right, let's submit this ticket to Big Bakery for Baker Dan. And let's go look at it inside of Odoo. All right, inside of the help desk application, I've got one ticket. I bet you $100 it's from Big Bakery. It sure is. And if I walk into this record, I can see the basic information about where this came from. But I need to figure out what I'm talking about here. So let's quickly go over to Big Bakery. Let's take a look at what they own for us. They own a couple of different mixers, Big Mix 3456 and 32, the one that I just sold. So we know that this is what they're talking about. A quick mixer, 8-inch bag with an auto slide gate. This is what we need to go fix. Let's get this assigned out to somebody, get them in the field, and get this moving. Finally, back in my mobile app, because I'm on the road, I'm going to click into my ticket, and I'm going to look at this. This is the information I got from the customer, but you can see that the help desk in the office told me that this is for mixer 32. It's a quick mixer with an 8-inch bag and an auto slide gate. It's located in the back of building C. At this point, I'm going to work through this case. I'm going to complete it, and I'm going to use that information back in the system. Again, I can bill for this if I need to, but they've got a maintenance contract, so it's going to basically not be charged to them. All of this information, from building the quote, building the unit, installing the unit, and supporting the unit, is all available inside of Odoo for an unbelievable price, less than $40 a user a month. Listen, we've been on the phone for almost 16 minutes now. I appreciate you digging in and helping me here. I'm going to cut this up to pieces. If you have any questions or concerns, please reach out to me, dan@blackirongroup.com, or call me on my phone, which I'm going to put on the screen now. Thanks for listening. We really appreciate it. I hope you found this useful, and we look forward to showing you the power of Odoo soon.